They did a good job with some of the things they did scheme-wise. They hit us on some runs early that gashed us. The first play of the game was basically a handback play. It was a misdirection. Then they hit us on a trap that were big. And then they just ran simple double teams, gap scheme double teams. We just weren't hitting on all cylinders. We got hit in the middle. We got hit on the perimeter. We got hit everywhere you can get hit in the run game. I mean, read run. Darnold, hit us on the read run. So we just didn't handle it well. We weren't physically, mentally, or emotionally ready today. Now, I knew what we were getting ready to face. I knew that. Like, what they just did doesn't shock me. Look, that's a credit to those guys. They came out ready to go. They played well. They're playing for the division. And, we knew going in this is a good team. I mean, this is a good football team, but talk will only get you so far. So we weren't ready.
I'm retarded?
Well, that was embarrassing, wasn't it, fellas? This 37-23 beatdown at the hands of the Carolina Panthers was humbling on offense, sobering on defense, and, well, a reality check for all of us in the fandom. We got a little bit out over our skis the past few weeks, guys. Let's be honest. We were going to stumble eventually. However, the thing is the future looks good for the Lions, you guys. The foundation is very solid for us to build off of moving forward. Regardless of how the next 2 weeks goes, things can still be bright looking forward. Our future's no longer in our hands. This was an opportunity to go out and snag destiny, grab it by the tail, and pull it out into the deep end, like Dan Campbell used to say. But we let this one slip away. However, our playoff hopes are still alive. We're just going to need a lot of help along the way. There's no sense of falling on your sword yet, fellas. Let's discuss.
Welcome to Detroit!
Alright, as you guys know, I'm Hat and Beard, the host of this channel. Hey, before we get too far down the line, go ahead and do me a favor. Click like on the video if you enjoyed this video and the type of content that I provide. And if you really want to help the channel out, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and ring the little bell for notifications so that you never miss out on any future content. Now that that's out of the way and you're now part of the Hat and Beard gang, let's get into the fun stuff. Look, guys, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We got beat at our own game. As physical as we want to be and as biting kneecaps as we want to be, the Carolina Panthers bit our kneecaps, and they were more physical than us. They wanted this game more, man. Dan Campbell flat out said it, and I have to agree to him. They wanted it more than we did. They were hungrier. They were just embarrassed by the Pittsburgh Steelers a week ago. They had a point to prove. Look, it sucks losing to Sam Darnold, and it sucks that our defense picked this game to decide to be the first 7-week Lions defense rather than the past 7-week Lions defense. But you're not going to win them all, guys. Luckily, this didn't completely eliminate us from the playoff contention. And like I said in the intro, it was a humbling experience, guys. It brought us back down to reality. And we now know, look, as flashy as our defense was the past 7 weeks, we were punching well out of our weight class. Well out of our weight class. We were able to cover up a lot of things with schemes. Maybe the Panthers were able to figure it out. Maybe it was a change in the schedule, you guys. As we know, the Thanksgiving game, the Lions came out and they stumbled. Look, everything got changed up differently. Your patterns are different. Your routine's different. Maybe that's it. I'm not trying to make excuses, but the field was really hard. Jared Goff was out there playing with a glove on. We couldn't get things going offensively, and our defense couldn't bail us out the way they have been the past 7 weeks. This was a perfect storm, a perfect shitstorm for the Lions to come out and just fall flat on their face. I'm not blaming any one thing, but I'm going to put a lot of blame on Ife Melifonwu. Between Melifonwu consistently being out of position and Jeff Brokuda not being able to do a dang thing, look, our defense was stagnant, dude. We couldn't get any pressure, and that's just the way that it's going to go, man. If you can't get any pressure, I've been saying it for weeks, guys. I've been saying it since the preseason. A good front seven can make a back end look a lot better than they were, and we weren't able to get any pressure. All in all, no run game on offense. Jared Goff still did Jared Goff things, but like I said in my preview video, if you're expecting Jared Goff to come out and throw 30-plus times a game, you're probably not going to win the game. You're going to be in chase mode. DeAndre Swift couldn't get it going. He had like 12 yards. Jamal Williams had like 11 yards, something like that. Regardless, Jared Goff was the leading rusher for the team. It was just a perfect storm for us to come out and fall flat and lose, and that's exactly what happened. It was a trap game, like I've been saying this entire last week. I was saying it was a trap game and we needed to watch out for it. But we can still come out and win our way into the playoffs. It's just not going to be as smooth sailing as we wanted. It's going to be a little bit more of an uphill fight, and unfortunately we need some things now to go our way. Offensively, there's not a lot to talk about. DJ Shark had over 100 yards receiving, and that's great. They were able to shut down Amon-Ra St. Brown. Our running game couldn't get going. Our offense lost the battle in the trenches. Taylor Decker got taken advantage of by Brian Burns. I told you guys to watch out for Brian Burns. Brian Burns is a Pro Bowl caliber and a Pro Bowl defensive end at a very young age. He's a good athletic defensive end who was able to take advantage of Taylor Decker and get around Penei Sewell from time to time. Jared Goff had a lot of pressure in his face. Luckily, Jared Goff didn't throw any interceptions. He just had that one fumble. I'm not really even going to chalk that up to Jared Goff or Frank Ragnow. That's one of them fluke situations, those 1 in 1,000 type odds where the handoff, the transition between the center and the quarterback is just bad. And unfortunately, that one turnover is what ended up breaking the momentum of the game because we were playing catch. We were able to keep up with the Panthers, and we were about to punch it in and go for, punch it and get another touchdown and keep the game competitive. But unfortunately, that one turnover really just stole the momentum from us, and we weren't able to get it back, guys. We weren't able to get it back because our offense couldn't do anything and because our defense couldn't stop anybody. Defensively, there's a lot of things you can chalk it up to. You could chalk it up to the piss-poor tackling that our team had. You could chalk it up to Jeff Brokuda playing apparently scared and not wanting to hit anybody and being benched in the third quarter for Mike Hughes. You could chalk it up to Deshaun Elliott being out and Ife Melifanu making his first start at safety. And then towards the beginning of the third quarter, the Panthers came out and were deliberately attacking his side of the field where they knew he was going to be even when they loaded the box because he would get lost in the sauce and get washed out of the play. And they were running right at Ife Melifanu. I'm not saying that Deshaun Elliott would have made a huge difference in the game because he could have just as easily been washed in the sauce, but we do know that Deshaun Elliott has been a very good defender against the run, especially for the Lions organization this season. He's been an impactful player in shutting down the run game the past 7 weeks. Couple that with our defensive line just couldn't control the line of scrimmage. We lost the war in the trenches on both sides of the ball, and that's what I said in my preview video. We were going to have to come out, we were going to be physical, and we were going to have to win the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, and we lost on both sides of the ball. Our defense looked exactly like they did the first 7 weeks of the season, where we could not stop any running game. I've been saying it for a while that we've been punching outside of our weight class. We've really been punching up. And good on you. You can get away with that for a while with good coaching and good scheming. However, it's not going to win you every single game. And this is the game that it caught up to us with. It was a humbling experience. Our defense has now been brought back down to earth. We were over here seeing James Houston terrorizing players. We were seeing Aiden Hutchinson playing out of his mind. And unfortunately, now that's all been brought back down to earth. We now have the sobering realization that our defensive backs are as bad as we thought they were. Outside of a Kirby Joseph, and hopefully Tracy Walker can bounce back. Jerry Jacobs is okay, but he's not a number one. And we're expecting a lot out of Jeff Okudah. I am one of the few people who's actually going to give Jeff Okudah a longer leash. Look, let him play out his contract, okay? Jeff Okudah didn't draft Jeff Okudah at number 3 overall. That was the Quintricia era, setting him up to fail. Jeff Okudah is our number 1 corner. He's not a solid number 1 corner in the league, but he's the best that we got, all right? He's the best that we got, and if you look at it, when you couple his ACL tear and his Achilles injury last year, this is his first full season. I mean, can we give the guy a little bit of a break? He's doing the best that he can with having to learn a whole new scheme with a new front office and head coaching staff that didn't draft the guy. All right, he's 2 years removed from his collegiate, his third overall pick, and unfortunately, he's the best that we have. Yeah, he's going to take advantage of a lot because he's not the best in the league. He's not a shutdown corner, but he's serviceable sometimes. We've seen flashes out of Jeff Okudah to show he can be good in the right situation. I just don't want to see another thing. I've seen it, guys. We've seen it happen time and time again. What I don't want to see happen is I don't want to see Jeff Brokuda get traded to like the Rams for like a 5th round pick or the 40 prime landing spot. Jeff Brokuda gets traded to the 49ers. Okay, you know I love Brad Holmes having draft capital. But I'm telling you that if Jeff Brokuda got traded to the 49ers with an organization that has a defense around him that can hide some of his shortcomings, he would be essentially a lockdown corner in that type of system because there's the players around him. And that's what we're trying to build on defense, is a defense that has these players around that can kind of make up for the shortcomings of our secondary. However, I don't know if the talent is available in this draft. We know that we have 2 first-round picks. We're probably going to need to go after somebody like a Jalen Carter with the Rams pick. I'd love for him to somehow slide to us so we can really solidify that interior defensive line, really give Aleem some added push. I'm not saying Isaiah Buggs is bad. I'm just saying Isaiah Buggs would be more of a rotational player if you had like a Jalen Carter. And then with our pick, regardless of where it is, you're going to have to go after, I'm telling you right now, Joey Porter Jr. is the guy. Joey Porter Jr. is the guy that needs to be drafted by the Lions. I hopefully when it gets time closer to the draft period, and isn't it nice that we're not having actual conversations about drafts leading into January, that we're playing meaningful games in January, that we played meaningful games all of December, and now we still have meaningful games to play in January? Can we at least tip our hat to the organization for turning it around and being that far ahead of schedule? But I'm telling you, if we were to draft Joey Porter Jr., I think he would be the prime fit for our defense. He'd really elevate our secondary play and then allow Hutch to get more sacks and allow James Houston to be more effective, and just all in all elevate our defense, because we all know that D-line and our secondary are the weakest points of the defense. Our linebacking core, we only really run 2, sometimes 3 linebackers, and Rodrigo's coming around. Anzalone's serviceable. He'll probably stick around for another year just because he's a good locker room guy, and he seems to understand the scheme and mentality of Dan Campbell and what we want to do as an organization. All in all, this game was just rough goings, guys. It was just rough goings for us. There wasn't a lot of bright spots. I do want to address 2 things. Number one, I've been seeing a lot of chatter on live stream stuff about JMO being a bust. And if you think JMO's a bust, then you're dumb. Flat out, you're dumb. Anything Jameson Williams provides is completely bonus to the regular projections that we should have. We shouldn't even be counting on JMO to be that guy. And you dipshits that are like, Jared Goff needs to just throw it deep to JMO 60 times. You dumbasses play way too much Madden, and you need to realize that JMO is in a learning progress right now. He was hurt the majority of the season. He's trying to pick up on an offensive scheme, and our team is trying to make it to the playoffs, okay? That doesn't necessarily include Jameson Williams, because he hasn't been a major contributing member of the team during the entire season, okay? Anything he adds is a complete bonus. If he's open on some deep shots and Goff can take a shot, feels comfortable with it, good. Let him. If not, let him continue to ease his way into the offense. He doesn't need to come in and have all this pressure on him. Let him learn from guys. Let him understand where Jared wants to put the ball for him. And that brings me to my second point, because this channel is about Jared Goff truthers this season. And I'm also going to reserve the fact to change my opinion as new information is provided available to me. But what I've seen out of Jared Goff this season tells me that Jared Goff is the quarterback of the Detroit Lions for at least the duration of his contract. You don't need to be drafting Jared Goff's replacement. Jared Goff knows what he's doing. He can execute Ben Johnson's game plan. Even if that game plan is ineffective, Jared Goff's still going to go out there and execute it, as we've seen in Carolina. All in all, we are right on track. We're actually ahead of schedule where we should be, with such a tremendous rebuild that was ahead of Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes. There was a massive undertaking that needed to be done here, and there was no reason for us to be competing for a playoff position this year. There was no reason for it, and yet here we are, playing meaningful games in December and meaningful games in January. You can't tell me that things aren't on the right track. You guys can't tell me you actually expected us to win every single game the rest of the season and just continue to roll. That's not how the NFL works. That's not how the NFL works for elite teams, and that sure as hell ain't how the NFL is going to work for mediocre or less than mediocre teams like the Detroit Lions. We're a Cinderella story right now, you guys. We are not a perennial powerhouse in the NFL. We're not going to get the calls. We're not going to be on easy street. It's going to be an uphill fight for us until we can prove that this organization is different. Anyway, you guys, that's going to be it for me. Hopefully you have a decent week, maybe a short week. I got a short week with the holiday. It's going to be kind of nice. Hopefully you do as well. Try and keep your head up, fellas. We're not completely out of it yet. We can still win out and have some things go our way, and we can still take that 7th seed. We were in control of our own destiny, and now we need a little bit of help from other people, but we can also do it ourselves by winning out. Focus on the Bears. Don't stumble on the Bears. Go out there. Prove to the NFL that we're for real. Take your frustrations out on the Bears. Do to the Bears what the Panthers did to us. All right, guys, go out there and be physical. Have a wonderful rest of your week, fellas. We'll catch you guys in the next video. We're going to be previewing the Chicago Bears matchup on January 1. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the channel if you haven't already. We'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.
Time to 23 Skidoo. Or should I say 69 Skidoo?
She said that my pornos were boring.